Hello BookTube. Today for Tag Tuesday, I will be doing the whale tag. This tag was created by Book Time with Ryan, and I'm getting the questions from Steve Donahue's version of the tag. And I'll leave links to both Steve and Ryan's channels in the show notes, as well as a copy of the prompts if you wish to do the tag yourselves. Although this tag has been making the rounds for a few months now, so I don't know exactly who has or hasn't done the tag yet. So let's get going. Blue whale. The blue whale is the largest, heaviest animal on Earth ever. What's the longest book you've read or want to read? Or what's the heaviest subject you've read about? So I'm not entirely sure about that second question. Sorry about that. If you heard Brady Taylor jumping in with a weather alert, he is the lead meteorologist for the CBS affiliate where I live. But anyway, getting back to the blue whale. So when I've tried to do this tag before, and I've had several goes at this tag, I've always struggled with this, like, what's the longest book I've read? Because I'm not going to go through all the big books I haven't checked for page count. And also, I mean, which of these mammoths am I most comfortable talking about? So I'm going to go with the second half of the first question and answer what's the largest book I want to read. And for a while, the biggest book I wanted to read was one of the two anthologies I have of theory and criticism, because I have two. But I'm going to go with this one, the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism. This book was one of the books I had on my Mooks and Gripes reading bucket list that I had for years wanted to read all of this book, even if it would be dreadfully dull and, yeah, not a terribly pleasant experience. But just last month, I got a book in that will be supplanting the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism as the largest book I want to read, and that is Death Note, the all-in-one edition by Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. So Death Note is one of the most important manga series to come out of the early 2000s. It's about a high school student named Light Yagami who one day picks up a notebook dropped by a Shinigami, a death god, a Grim Reaper. And Yagami learns that if he writes the name of an individual in the notebook, that person will die. And if he is a bit more creative, he can basically narrate that person's death. And Yagami uses this newfound power to purge the world of criminals. And so he becomes the serial killer known as Kira. These actions draw the attention of a private detective called L, who begins to investigate. And thus begins a cat and mouse game between Light and L. I've read the first volume or two, but I've never read the entire series, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I don't know if I'm going to get to Death Note sometime this year or wait until next March of the Mammoths, because this is a mammoth. Question number 2, sperm whale. Sperm whales routinely dive to a depth of 2,000 feet to feed on squid, but can dive to a depth of 10,000 feet. What is a book that has motivated you to look deeper into a subject, character, situation, or series? For this, I'm going to go with Black Wave by Kim Gottis. This is a look at the conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia throughout the 20th century, but particularly starting with the Iranian Revolution. So it's a look at sort of the Middle East in the for much of the 20th century and how with the Iranian Revolution, a conflict has bubbled up between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And this book really got me interested in reading more about the Middle East. And I've since read a number of books on the Middle East that I have greatly enjoyed. Question number 3. The Humpback Whale. Humpback whales sing long, complex songs they have in common with other individual humpback whales. These songs can change uniformly or for entire groups of whales. What is a book that has changed meaning for you over the years, and why did it change? So this question has given me some pause because it really needs to be a book that I read when I was younger and have come back to. And really, I don't quite know why this book is constantly making the appearances. But I'm going to have to go, as much as I don't want to, with Mysterious Skin by Scott Hine. So as I mentioned yesterday, because I did talk about this a bit yesterday, Mysterious Skin is a novel about two young men who experienced sexual abuse when they were younger, and the book explores how the two young men have dealt with that abuse since. I read this book at least once, maybe twice when I was in high school. Perhaps maybe not necessarily the right age to read this book, but it is what it is. And it moved me in a way that coming back to Mysterious Skin almost 20 years later didn't. It came off as clunky, as sort of like just a student. I mean, I don't know, I guess it was more clearly a debut novel, and a novel that was written for a class. So, yeah, and I know this is probably a disappointing answer, but I don't really have a better one because there aren't that many books that I've read when I was much younger that I've come back to. And a lot of those that I have, I'm a lot more critical. Frustratingly, but anyway. So hopefully, I'm sorry if that question did not quite work, or my answer did not quite work out for this particular question. Prompt number 4, Orca. Orcas, or killer whales, are incredibly smart social whales, actually dolphins. What's a book you felt was especially smart, fiction or nonfiction, and made you really think? So for this, I'm going to go with Sunny Days, The Children's Television Revolution That Changed America by David Camp. So this is a history of children's programming in the late 60s and through the 70s. that focuses on the birth of PBS in the United States. Although other children's programming is looked at, I mean, so the focus is on like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, The Electric Company, the first iteration of Zoom, which were all on PBS, as well as Schoolhouse Rock and a number of kind of local productions in New York and Los Angeles. And reading this book got me really interested in thinking about children's programming and what purpose children's entertainment serves, and really enjoyed it. Okay, prompt number 5, beluga. Belugas are nicknamed the canaries of the seas because of the sounds they make. What's a book you wanted to talk to others about after reading it? Why? So for this, I'm going to go with Big Wonderful Thing, My History of Texas by Stephen Harrigan, which actually probably is a candidate for the biggest book I ever read, but I'm pretty sure it's not actually. So this is a history of Texas, and this is one of the books that I read in 2020 that really made me change my opinion about history and really ignited my love of history that has happened over the last few years. And for a while, I took every opportunity I had to talk about this book. Okay, prompt number 6, narwhal. Male narwhals, known as the unicorns of the sea, have 2 teeth, including one long spiraling tooth that can grow nearly 9 feet long. What's a book you heard great things about before reading only to discover it was less magical than, or magical after reading it? So for this, I'm going to go with The Trees by Percival Everett. So The Trees is a satire of contemporary America. It's about a group of vigilantes who target known racists or individuals who have had a family connection to racist violence. The book starts with the descendants of the men who murdered Emmett Till being lynched in a particularly gruesome way. They are found brutally murdered, castrated, with their testicles or member in the hand of a deceased African American male who is kind of made to look like Emmett Till, although he's not actually Emmett Till. And a group of detectives with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation come to the town to investigate, and the murders start to spread. And I'd heard great things about this book. It was up for the Booker last year, and I think it was also tipped for the Pulitzer, but it just did not work for me at all. I really did not like this book. I'll be right back. UPS is horrible timing. Anyway, so where was I? Sorry about that, but I'm so far along, I do not want to kind of start over again. Okay, so next prompt is Bowhead Whale. While it's evident bowhead whales live well beyond 100 years of age, there's evidence, they may live to be 200 years old. What is the oldest book in your collection, or what book has been in your collection the longest? So the book that has been in my collection the longest, I'm pretty sure, is Legends of the World by Richard Cavendish. I've had this book since I was in my early teens. It's an anthology that, well, it's not really an anthology, but it's just a collection of myths and legends from around the world that I picked up and I've read, although I haven't read it in ages. Next, number 8, Atlantic gray whale. Atlantic gray whales were sadly wiped out by humans. Today, only Pacific gray whales remain. Save the whales! What's one book that's either out of print or out of fashion that you wish would make a comeback? I don't know. Well, I guess I could kind of go with Magic the Labyrinth of Magic, so by Shinobu Utaka, so that there would be copies available to find. Although that said, I am pretty much about 3 volumes to finish, actually. So by the end of this month, unless I luck out, there will be like 3 volumes left that I need to pick up. Anything else? Well, I guess maybe more of a subject, like the Holy Roman Empire or something like that. Okay, the bonus, Moby Dick. Moby Dick was the great white sperm whale Captain Ahab never caught. What is a book you want to own but haven't found or bought? What's stopping you from hooking that book? Well, going back to Magic the Labyrinth of Magic, unfortunately, the series, I think, has gone out of print. Although I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess I probably should contact Viz and see what's up with it. But its volumes of Magi are rather hard to come by. Although, again, I have managed to now either have or have ordered all but 3 volumes. So it's not like it's that bad. But it has been rather difficult. I mean, I've been working my way through Magi for about 2 or 3 years now, since I really got back into collecting manga. And it took me a while to find like volume 8, and then volume 9 took a ridiculously long amount of time that I just managed to haul last month, along with a good chunk of the teens and stuff. And now I'm largely working my way through the 20s because I have up through, because I think when I ended, let me look because they're up there. So I currently have up to like the first 20 volumes, and then I'm missing the volumes from 21 to 27, and then 32. So far by the end of this month, unless things work out and I can get the final 3 volumes I'm missing, I'll be missing 21 and 26 and 27 are the ones that I'm missing now. But yeah, I don't know why they're just so hard to find. And I also had a bit of this issue with like a Subasa Reservoir Chronicle. That's why I have some of the later volumes in omnibus form instead of the individual volumes. Is there any other? I guess that's really it right now. And of course, I also did the literary white whales, which were 4 forthcoming manga volumes that I'm waiting to get. And the reason why I don't have them yet is because they're not out yet. So anyway, and I think the last is to tag people, which I don't know if anybody's, or like how many people have finished or not finished the book. So, or tag, I'm sorry about that. I'm a bit discombobulated. But yeah, so if you haven't done this tag and you'd like to, go ahead and consider yourselves tagged. And I guess for that interruption at the midpoint of this tag, I probably should, I guess, do a bit of an unboxing. So we'll unbox this book here, although I will be hauling it again when I do my June book haul, so that it was not all manga. Because I also got a bit of a manga haul into that I'm going to log in here in a bit. So, holy moly, this is. So, Revolutionary Spring by Christopher Clark. So, this is a history of the revolutions of 1848. You can go on top of the manga because you'll get not put in first. So, anyway, BookTube, that's all I have for today. I'll be back tomorrow either with a tag video or maybe discussion video, depending on how I feel. So, any BookTube, until I see you next time, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.